In this Blender tutorial, I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can save backups of your Blender files while you're working on your Blender projects. So over here I have my file browser, and then over here I have Blender. So I'm just going to open up the user preferences, and if you go down to the save and load, you can see right here there is a save versions. So the default is 1, so I'm just going to turn this up to 1 and then close the user preferences. Now I'm going to save this Blender file. So I'm going to press Ctrl S to save. And I'm just going to save this as project.blend in this folder on my computer. So just click on Save Blender File, and you can see now it says project.blend. So now I'm going to do something. I'm just going to delete everything and then maybe add a monkey. Now I'm going to press Ctrl S to save my Blender project, or go File and Save. And you can see that it says project.blend1. And if you open this up, you can see that it looks the same as this one. So what this is it's a backup of your last save. So you don't actually want to use this. This is just for a backup. So if you do something in Blender and then something gets messed up and you need to go back to an older save of your Blender file, then you want to use this. But while you're working on your Blender projects, you don't want to use this because this is an older save of your file. So just to show you, I'm going to press Shift A and add a cube. Maybe I'll just put this cube right over here, and then I'll press Ctrl S again. Now you can see that if I open this up, it's correct, it has the cube and the monkey, but if I open up this one, you can see that it just has the monkey. So this is an older version of our save. Now if I press Ctrl S again, I can open this up. This one is the most up-to-date one, so this is just the project.blend. If I open up this one, you can see that it's exactly the same. It still has the cube, and that's because we saved twice. So I pressed Ctrl S and then Ctrl S again. And so because we pressed Ctrl S a second time, it overwrote the old save, and so now they're exactly the same. But let's say I press Shift A, maybe I'm going to add a cone. Just bring the cone right over here and press Ctrl S again. Now I can open up this one. There's the cone. And then if I open up this one, the cone's not there because this is the older version of the save. So if I open up the user preferences again, you can see that if you turn this up, like maybe I'm going to turn this up to 3 and then close this. And then I'm just going to do something. Maybe I'll just add a sphere and then delete the cube and move the monkey head over here. Now I press Ctrl S again, you can see it has a .blend2. So if I open this one up, this is the most up-to-date one. If I open this one up, you can see it's an older version. And then if I open up this one, it's an even older version. So you can see now this one is the one with just the monkey head and the cube. So now I'm going to do another thing. Let me just duplicate this, bring it over here. And then maybe I'll also just add an icosphere, put it right back here. Okay, I'm going to press Ctrl S again, and now you can see it says project.blend3. So again, I can open these up, and here's the newest one, and then as I go back in the .blend 1, 2, 3, and so on, it's saving the old backups of our save. So this is really useful for if a problem happens. So maybe I press Ctrl B and do this, and something is messed up with the monkey head, and then I press Ctrl S, and then I'm like, uh-oh, I just saved it. Well, I can go back to the project.blend 1, and there we go, the monkey head is fixed. So then what I would do is I would go File and Save As, or Shift Ctrl S, and then I could just override this. So just double click on this and save this as the project. So now if I close this and I go back to the project, you can see now it's fixed. Or you could just save this as a new project. And then I could just open up the new Blender project, this one right here, and there we go, we're back to the monkey and it's not all messed up. So in the user preferences, this number here, you can change it to pretty much whatever you want. So if you want to make 10 of them and then close that, every time you press Ctrl S, you can see it's going to make another save. Now, once it gets to 10, if you keep on pressing Ctrl S and just save, now you've done it more than 10. And so now they're actually all going to be the same. So if you open up this one, you can see that it's the same one as this one. So they're both the same, and that's because I kept pressing Ctrl S again and again, and so all of these now actually are the same. So this is a really cool feature. I actually don't really care to use this, so I actually turn this to 0, and then I click on Save Preferences. And that way, when I save something, I'm just going to delete these, and then press Ctrl S. Now you can see when I keep pressing Ctrl S, it just saved that one Blender file. And this is just my preference. I just prefer not to use this. Now there's also another way to save backups of your Blender files, and that is incrementing the save. So I'm just pressing Ctrl S and saving this, and then let me just delete these spheres, maybe bring this over here. Now let's say I want to increment the save. So I want to save a backup of this one and then keep on working. What you do is you press Control-Shift-S or go File and Save As. And then what you do, you can see right here, there's the project.blend. There is this plus and minus. If you click on the plus, you can see now it says project1.blend. If I save this now, you can see that it's saved as project1.blend. So now maybe I'm going to add a cube, and maybe I'll delete the cone and I'll delete this. Now I can press Control-Shift-S again and click on the plus, and now it's going to increment the save again, and now it's project2.blend, and I can save that. So you can see now if I go back to these old ones, well, let me just go to project2.blend. You can see that's the most up-to-date one. Then if I go to project1.blend, you can see it's an older version of the save. And then if I go to the project.blend, you can see it's an even older version of the save. So I increment my saves a lot, especially when I'm doing sculpting or video editing. I find that sculpting and video editing are two things that you can have some problems sometimes, especially with sculpting. Blender can like crash and some weird things can sometimes happen, and it's really helpful to have an increment of the save. So you can just keep working on your Blender project and pressing Shift-Control-S and incrementing the save just every now and then if you want to increment it, and you can see that it just will keep going and keep going and keep going. And then if you stop working on your Blender project and come back to it, you don't want to work on the project.blend because that's an older version. You want to work on the one that has the biggest number because that is the most current save. Now this Blender file is pretty small, these are all just kilobytes, but if you're doing like video editing or sculpting or you're working on some really big Blender project, then the file size can get quite big. And so what I do is once I'm done working on a Blender project, let's say I'm all finished with my Blender project, I would just go and select all of these and delete them and just keep the last one because that's the most up-to-date one. But I'm already finished with the Blender project, so I don't really need to save the backups. So those are two really great ways to save your Blender files while you're working on your projects. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a future video.